The Classroom Hip Hop 101, Season 4, Black History Curriculum comes to New York City. It's time to study black, y'all. Let's go. Teaching reading uniquely. To reverse underperformance, True School is here. Now let's be clear. Our impact will be enormous. To the teachers across this nation, in eager anticipation, a sound from the streets that's so unique, it'll transform education.
True, yeah. Yeah, like true, yeah. Prepare yourself for more than just a hip-hop trend. Here to criticize and analyze through hip-hop lens. Prisons claiming our sons, use our daughters for fun. Pen is stronger than swords, so these books are stronger than guns. Breaking the pipeline, making their light shine. No more believing in all of these white lies. Dr. Shango Blake speaks, better tune to the station. This podcast will outlast all of your tribulations. This principle got principles, that's why y'all hating. Dr. Blizzy's vibrations felt across the nation. Recruiting the youth, only teaching the truth. Cause the future is bright and our kids are the proof. So if you born to be you, then march to these drums. Welcome to the classroom, Hip Hop 101. Dr. Blake speaks, the lesson is begun. Welcome to the classroom, Hip Hop 101.
Watch this.
The Department of Education also overhauling its teaching of black history in the city's public schools. The curriculum change will be for students K through 12 in all 5 boroughs. Sharon Crowley shows us how the groundbreaking new program is coming together.
Our history starts in American textbooks with our arriving here as slaves, but it doesn't talk about what black people have contributed to the development of the world.
Dr. Shango Blake is one of a group of educators creating a new Black Studies curriculum for New York City public school students. It's called the Education Equity Action Plan.
We want to show the things that we've done in America besides just the civil rights movement. I was shocked that I had to go to the movies to learn that black women helped put a man on the moon.
And learning about the life and accomplishments of NASA mathematician Katherine Johnson will be part of this new Black Studies curriculum. Right now, New York City school children learn about slavery and the civil rights movement and leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. However, Dr. Blake says so many more greats in ancient and modern history are left out. Some parents of public school children I spoke to in Harlem tell me they agree with Dr. Blake.
It's important to understand, to know who you are, to identify and continue to just build on what it means to be who you are. And as an early age, most kids are trying to just figure that out.
Eric Waterman and his wife, Monique Chandler Waterman, have 2 teenage daughters. They wish their daughters had been taught more about black history when they were in elementary and high school.
We need to see ourselves in the curriculum. They need to know who to look up to. They need to identify. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. So it's important to have equitable plan when it comes to our black and brown communities.
Kaya Royal has a 4-year-old daughter who's just beginning her New York City public school education. She stands to benefit early from this new Black Studies curriculum, as it will start in kindergarten and continue through the 12th grade, beginning in the next calendar school year.
A step in the right direction in instilling knowledge of self that, again, the textbooks, the curriculum reflects the children. When she goes to school, she can see pictures of people that look like her and what she's learning.
Well, this initiative includes training teachers. The idea is that the program would roll out first as a pilot in a few schools and then expand to every school in the city. It is, of course, supported by the school's chancellor and many local lawmakers.
The Education Equity Action Plan, Black Studies curriculum coming to New York City. Cassandra, proud member of Black Influencers United, BU.
Indeed,
shout out to my
indeed.
BU folks. What do you think? So what do you think about this? Because BU played a critical role in working with other organizations to get this done. What does this mean for our children? How significant is this?
Well, first let me say that I'm so excited and I'm proud to be a member of BU. And the work that we're doing is in line with what is happening in New York City. It means empowering our young people, building gaps and bridges between the elders and the young people, and ensuring that they know who they are, where they come from, so that we can start redefining those roles and reactivating the community and the village, so that this way they have some tangible skills and they know, and they can apply them to real life. So again, knowing who they are and where they come from, and knowing that it's not just gaps within their lives. And because what I found was that in teaching, our kids knew about Africa. Then they knew that they were here as slaves. Then they knew about Martin Luther King Jr., and then they were born. So there's so many gaps, and this is going to plug all those gaps and give them the knowledge of self and empower them. And it is a great day for education, for Black educators particularly, and for our young people specifically.
I'm also thinking like, it's so important not just for our children to know our history, but it's also important for all children in our history. Because you think about the future policymakers, the future police officers, people who might be in positions of authority over our children or over us. And they come with an attitude that's really bigoted because they don't know what we've contributed. This is like an education problem. And so to think that a little, let's say, white child in a certain part of New York City will come to appreciate the contributions that we have made to society, they may eventually grow up to be a judge, a lawyer, or some policymaker, and they'll understand that not only will they understand the contributions, but they'll understand the barriers, the things that have been placed before us to prevent us from getting where we are.
Well, that's the great thing about this policy, and also the work that BU does. It will blow up and break down all of those systemic issues that exist that continue to disenfranchise our young people and dehumanize us. Because what happens is, I call it the 3 Ps. I call it propaganda, programming, and policing. And with those 3 Ps, what ends up happening is when they don't have knowledge of stuff, or they don't have that information that they can access, or it's not given to them, and it's not ingrained in their behavior, in their DNA, or their information, what ends up happening is that they're pulling from sources that don't really give them the full picture and the full view of who they are and what they can accomplish. And then also sharing that information out once they have it. So this way they can challenge the systems that continue to disenfranchise them. And that's what's great about this. And that's what I see for the future. Breaking down those barriers, kicking down those doors, and breaking those systemic issues that continue to plague our communities.
And as a teacher, I mean, we know you half paint, Cassandra, and all that. But as a teacher, how exciting does this make you? I mean, just think about it. Like, you have an opportunity to help participate in developing and vetting this curriculum for generations to come. Yes,
being a part of the capacity team on BU, I'm able to create some of those curriculums to make sure that information gets there. It's about decolonizing us and empowering the young people so that they know that what they hear and what they've been taught are myths and lies that are built upon an oppressive society. In the classroom that I'm in, automatically, off the back, that's what I focus on. I mean, we call it cultural responsiveness now. Back then it was called multiculturalism. Every certain amount of time, there's a new buzzword that comes up. But the reality is that it is education, true education of American history and the contributions of people, all people, but specifically what we as Black people have done and contributed to the rest of the world. And I think that that's important because everybody seems to forget about what the contributions are, and not just from here in America, but from the African legacy and the African diaspora to Pan-Africanism altogether.
Exactly, and you make a very good point with the Pan-Africanism, right? Let's look at it. If we can look at American history, and we can talk about what Italian Americans have brought to this country, what they've contributed, what people from Ireland have contributed, and what was the struggles that led them here, then why wouldn't we talk about our brothers and sisters who come from the Caribbeans, right? Like, what have they brought to this country? Our sisters from Jamaica, Absolutely. Our brothers from Haiti, from Guyana, from Barbados. What have they brought in terms of rich diversity, to our society, and even on a local level, our city, Absolutely. The city of New York. This is the Classroom Hip Hop 101. There's a relationship, with Jamaica and Kool Herc and the big speakers that they would build and sets that they would build in Jamaica, and how that was brought over here to America. So once we begin to connect the dots for our young people and help them to understand, history, but understand their life within the context of history, then they'll have greater purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it's about making connections and making it relevant in terms of they can understand, and then they can apply them to real life. So once they are empowered, and once they have that information, and once they know how one thing connects to each other and how that timeline was created and all of the contributions that were a part of them, their family members or their culture, that in itself is enough to say that this is not just the tip of the iceberg, but it really is blowing up the iceberg from the foundation up. Because that's what you have to do. You really have to blow up the curriculum in order to reintroduce, unlearn, relearn, and unteach and reteach the truth.
Well, allow us to reintroduce ourselves, right?
We be you.
Let me just say this. Be on the lookout for this. The Education Equity Action Plan. Black Studies curriculum coming to New York City, over $10 million invested in the complete implementation of Black history, K-12, integrated in all schools. Our children will not grow up not knowing who they are, and they won't have to do what many of us had to do, wait to college before we learned anything about Black people's contributions to America and the world. So where are we going to be, Half Pint?
Well, big things is popping, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Dr. Blake, CEO of True SK Consultants. True SK Consultants, the True stands for Teaching, Reading Uniquely to Reverse Underperformance, and the SK stands for School. So we're not old school, we're not new school, but we're True School. We are an innovative company focused on whole school reform. And today I'd like to introduce you to my corporate partners who focus on parent and student engagement.
Hi, I'm Savannah Banana. I'm an entrepreneur. I am 8 years old. I am a fashion designer, and I am in 2nd grade. The company I own is Savannah Banana Clothing. I am partnered up with True SK Consultants to show kids how cool it is to be a business owner.
Hi, I'm Brazil Dow and I'm an entrepreneur. Hi, I'm Princess Dow and I'm an entrepreneur.
We are the Dow twins. We are 8 years old in the 2nd grade. We act, we model, we have a store online, we write children's books, and we co-develop a learning app that helps kids with spelling words and sight words.
But what we are most known for is our kid-friendly brand of water called Water to Kids that we created to get kids healthy with hydration.
We partnered with True SK Consultants to teach kids the importance of healthy habits
and how to become entrepreneurs.
Hi, I'm Chloe Pope and I'm an entrepreneur.
I am 10 years old and in the 4th grade. I am the CEO and owner of Chloe D Speaks. I am a celebrity kid blogger, and I am also a proud partner of True SK Consultants, and I'm here to teach young kids like me how to start their own businesses.
Now I'd like to introduce you to the parents of my partners.
Hi, I'm Melina Dow. I'm the mommy of the Dow twins. Myself and my young entrepreneurs have partnered with True SK Consultants and Dr. Blake to share all of the information that we've learned on our journey. We want to help parents and their children learn new methods of teaching kids healthy habits and entrepreneurship.
Hello everyone, my name is Sandra Jordanay and I'm the mother of Chloe D. She is the CEO of Chloe D Speaks, and we're both partners of True SK Consultants. This venture is very important to me because Chloe, when she started reading, she wasn't interested in reading or writing, and I found a way to have her improve her reading and writing skills through blogging. And through the blogging, we created the company Chloe D Speaks. And I think that the model that I use to help Chloe become a better writer, a better reader, and a better interviewer was through the blogging aspect. And so I'm happy to be with True SK Consultants to help teach parents how to get their children involved in improving whatever skills they need to improve along with entrepreneurship.
Hi, my name is Jessica Smith. I'm the proud mother of Savannah Banana. I have partnered with True SK Consultants to show parents how cool it would be to teach their children how to own and operate their very own business. My intentions are to show parents the step-by-step process on how to begin a business for their child.
Welcome to the Classroom Hip Hop 101 with your host, Dr. Blizzy. September 29th, History Made. Have you heard that Black Studies curriculum is coming to the New York City Department of Education, and it's under a specific plan called the Education Equity Action Plan? I am here with Council Member Daneek Miller from the Councilmatic District 27, who is also co-chair of the Black Latino Asian Caucus. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, my brother.
Brother, we made history. I feel a little funny because I'm reporting on this, but I was actually a part of it.
Absolutely, you're a big part of it.
Oh, thank you. And there's a lot of groups that came together. It was the Eagle Academy Foundation. It was Black Influencers United, ABNY, Association of Black Educators of New York. We partnered with the support and allies like United Way. And then lately we've brought on the Black Education Research Coalition under Teachers College. But there's an origin story here that needs to be told.
Well, part of that too is, so let me say how important it is and that we were able to get to this point and making history, but a couple of things. We knew at the council and the caucus that the work that we had been doing over the past 4 years, and for myself over the past 8 years, that in a moment of crisis, we would respond with policy that really impacted our children where necessary. But during that time, we haven't really addressed the specific and nuanced needs of those underserved communities that we represent, that over 5 million New Yorkers and 80% of the 1.2 million students from the Department of Education that are represented by members of the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus.
Let me just for a point of clarity, the Black, Latino, Asian Caucus. So you're a council member and there's this caucus. Like, what is this Black, Latino, Asian Caucus? And what is their role, purpose? How does this work, and how does this benefit our community?
So it is a caucus that is made up of communities of color, Black, Latino, and Asian members. We are 26 of the 51 members of council, so we are the majority of the members of the council. That number will grow come January 1, which means essentially that we have the ability to really drive policy, budget, around the city of New York, whether or not that is always the case, that we can get people working collaboratively around for the greater good, is the challenge, which makes what we do here so special, that Eagles and everything was checked at the door, and this particular initiative became a priority for everyone. So. And we do represent the majority of New Yorkers, and it is not an easy thing to do that, because while folk of color are the majority, we are not monolithic in our needs and policies. Here my community is a community of home ownership, right, which is a lot different from others. But even where we have common interests on areas of public safety, policing, and affordable housing and so forth, how that happens differs in different communities, right? Demographically, whether it's social, economic, whatever. And so it is the constant dialogue that gets us to where we always say public policy happens by virtue of public discourse, right?
But you mentioned we're not a monolithic community, right? I bring that up because one of the things that, in terms of this process that I witnessed, was that there was a real operational unity. Black educational organizations sitting down with the Black, Latino, Asian caucus of the City Council to really come up with a plan to address what our children's needs are. What was that like from your perspective as an elected working with Black educational organizations?
So, as I was saying, for me, my experience over the last 8 years, we weren't really speaking to the values of our community, right? And then we did not have that area of expertise. Although we have educators in the caucus, we have Inez Barron, who was a former teacher, principal, and administrator, and others that have come through that are a big part of how we drive the narrative around supporting education. But the level of expertise we obviously did not have, right? We have the ability to create policy. We have the ability to manage and guide the budget. But the specific expertise that is required in a plethora of areas, but more specifically around education, we didn't have. When I heard that this coalition of educators, Black educators and parents and administrators had been meeting with our colleagues at the state level.
Yes.
The state court, I wanted in, right? and I'm not kidding. I wanted in, and I was excited. I started talking to my co-chair, Councilmember Adrian Adams, and others in the caucus. I'm like, hey, they're having conversations. Black educators are having conversations at the state level with our colleagues in government, and we need to be doing that. You know,
and it's interesting because I want to first of all say. Shout out to Dave Banks from Eagle Academy Foundation, who was very, very instrumental in kind of pulling educators together. Right. But we found out that there was a little bit more red tape on the state level, and we could get this done a lot faster on the city level. And so we began to write position papers to you and say this is the things that we want to do, and that's where the name Education Equity Action Plan, because there's many things that we want to get done, not just Black Studies curriculum. But walk us through this. We submitted the position papers to you. When you got it, what happens next?
So we were excited about it. It's also conversation and dialogue that we've been having within the caucus. We have members from throughout the diaspora, which from our executive boards, which includes folks like Peter Koo, Francisco Moya, Farrah Lewis, and Alika Samuels, and Adrian and myself, along with the other members. But I bring them up to say that we were preparing for this, right? We were really preparing for this moment, and so once we received this information, and we knew it was something that we can run with, it was timely because as much as we've been having these conversations ongoing about what we want to do over for years, and quite frankly a number of councils. The timing was perfect because we were like in the midst of our budget season. We were prioritizing our budget priorities for the caucus, communities of color, and there wasn't a better place for us to start with creating resources and opportunity for our young people, our young scholars and our young Black scholars. So we took that. And then it was some conversation within the budget negotiation team of the council, New York City Council, and Adrian sits on the budget negotiation team, Councilmember Adams and folks like Councilmember Adams and Councilmember Robert Cornegy, Councilmember Debbie Rose, and others, and so, but very specifically, their task was to make sure that this moved to the next level, right? Because there's initiatives and coming from all over the place, right?
So it landed with the Black, Latino, Asian caucus, and then where did it go from there?
So the caucus then in order to secure the funding, because we knew that was the real commitment, right? The commitment is, if you want to see folks' commitment, look at their policy, look at their budget, right? And so we wanted to get it in the budget, and that started with the budget negotiation team of the entire caucus. And so once it made it through the budget negotiation team, you know, it was pretty much a wrap, right? And then it became just a matter of the technicalities, and of course, you know, the speaker the speaker of the council, Corey Johnson, was on board. He was on board because, you know, of the work of the caucus, right? And the reputation around education had really preceded, and in fact, pre-COVID. We had entered into a technology agreement. We partnered with the NAACP and Hazel Dukes and purchased thousands of tablets and other technology to be used in our underperforming schools throughout the city, right? So we had identified those schools, and the same thing that we're doing here in terms of professional development and apps and that. Now we didn't have the specific curriculum in maths and sciences, but certainly we hadn't gotten to the point that around the history, and so we had already begun to dive into that, and interestingly enough, when COVID hit, and there was this demand for technology and equipment, we were the only ones that had it because we had already ordered the thousands of computers to be delivered to our schools. So that worked out.
You know, it's interesting, I'm sorry, but the COVID also brought up a lot of issues around systemic racism.
Absolutely.
And I think that this curriculum is viewed as a solution to some of the things that involve racism and a history of oppression with our children and our communities. And so this thing is so important. I just want to say that the result of this process has been $10 million earmarked to the development of a commission. This commission is not designed for the study of why Black history should be taught, but for the rollout and the implementation of a Black studies curriculum in New York City. And that could not have happened without the work of Daneek Miller, members of the Black, Latino, Asian Caucus, co-chair Adrian Adams. We'll be back with more of Councilmember Daneek Miller after this break.
Bringing modern technology to schools across the country, bridging the gaps between the administration, students, and their parents, creating a secure and enriched educational environment for both students and administration. We are WorldCast Live. WorldCast Live's groundbreaking technology was founded under these 5 principles: communication, parent engagement, instruction, fundraising, and security. Communication. Close the communication gap within their institution. For example, principals can speak directly to parents live, sharing beginning of the year message, or remind parent of important upcoming events. Parent engagement. Help schools increase parent and community engagement. For example, parents can log into PTA meeting from home or on the go with full interactive engagement. Instructions. Provides a platform to showcase school projects and curriculum to parents who cannot make it to school event. In addition, WCL can be used as an instructional tool to teach student filmmaking and broadcasting process, thus learning a skill that will make them career and college ready. Fundraising provides a way to generate revenue for schools and organizations to fund school projects, sports teams, clubs, and activities. Security. Your privacy is our #1 priority. Creating a digital space where our children and education providers are protected is at the very core of our platform. Cloud education is the future, and WorldCast Live aims to integrate technology in all facets of the school curriculum. Be a part of the leap forward that will revolutionize online education.
Welcome back, Councilmember Daneek Miller. You have been at this for 8 years.
Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah.
And you're now about to leave the council. What do you want your legacy to be?
Wow, you know, that's interesting, and I'm working on all this stuff, and we're compiling all this data, and so the simple answer is that we left it better than we found it, right? And that we were able to do something like, you know, we're looking at this, and that we impacted our women in our community. I am the only Muslim member of the New York City Council, right? And the impact that we have had, what we were able to do with halal meals and holidays and things of that nature there, that, man, it just wouldn't have happened, right? But not that one vote matters, right? But that I am able to influence and represent the Ummah, the community, in such a way that I can get 50 other members, including those on the other side of the aisle and those that don't come from our community, to be supportive, right, of that agenda. That is one thing. The other thing is, you know, on the labor side, you know, obviously I come from the labor community. I'm a former president and business agent of Amalgamated Transit Union, represents New York City Transit buses and others. And so, you know, what we were able to do for working families, how we maintain the integrity of organized labor, how we create a pathway to middle class and wealth through organized labor, because we have in Southeast Queens, we have the most densely populated union community in New York State, which is the most densely populated state in the country. So that makes us the most densely populated union community in the country, right? But it is also the highest African American home ownership in the nation, right? So there's a direct correlation between the two, right, and upward mobility, right, which has been the journey too. When we stepped in, we also had the highest number of foreclosures in the city, so we were, we were the low-hanging fruit. So all that work around that and wealth building was really important. But then it was the redevelopment of the downtown area, right, the downtown Jamaica area. Now you know what we're seeing now, seeing high-rises come up and all that, but this is affordable housing, right? I watch on social media, oh my God, here it comes. I saw Starbucks, here comes gentrification and all these things here.
You know when they see the Starbucks.
Yeah, right? and folks are freaking out. And I don't generally, reply, but I was like, man, these are people I've known for 30, 40 years that I really respect and value their opinion, but they misguided, and I'm like, man, this is, we've negotiated, community board preference where 50% have to come from the community board. We brought in our brother Kyle Bragg and others that, 32BJ and others are going to do the union maintenance. And but the ownership, man, we have, nearly 2/3 of that is black ownership down there, right? So over $1 billion of investment coming from our community.
I wish we had more time, council member, but we cannot let you go without asking you a serious question here. Everybody who comes on the Classroom Hip Hop 101 with Dr. Blizzy, their career either goes up or down based on this question. So what we want to know is, who are your top five MCs any era, and go.
MCs or hip hop?
MCs.
Tribe.
Tribe.
I gotta go Queens. I gotta go Tribe. I gotta go Nas. I gotta go L. PE for sure. That's me. That's my generation. Shout out to Chuck and the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, baby.
Lauryn Hill. Well, we want to thank you for being on the show. Those are some serious top fives. We thank you. No wonder he's an equity warrior, someone who's building his community because he comes from us and he understands us. Thank you again, Councilmember Daneek Miller, for being on the show.
Thank you, brother, for having me, man. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Do you want a TV-level production for your next event? Do you need a marketing team that will help you market your brand from the beginning to end? Are you interested in a production team that helps you edit Grammy Award-level content? What you need is Worldcast Live. We are the complete solution that takes care of your future live-streamed events from beginning to end. Our initiative is to provide you with TV-level productions, content you can market to some of the top television producers. But wait, there's more. We're not just a live streaming company. We're a fan engagement platform. We can help you engage with your fans by offering them loyalty rewards using augmented reality. We can help your bar by reducing your lines using our bar queue feature. And our points feature allows you to interact with your audience months before the actual event. Hit us up today because we're the ones that help you months before, during, and after your live streamed event.
Thank you for constantly supporting the Classroom Hip Hop 101. Tell your friends, continue to support. Go to our YouTube channel, the Classroom Hip Hop 101 with Dr. Blizzy. Like, comment, subscribe. We need your support. And shout out to my organization. I call them my crew, BU. Shout out to my super producer, Half Pint. And Half Pint, by the way, I just want to say to you this. You know, they don't call me the nation's hip hop principal and Dr. Blizzy for no reason. But check out this video. Our culture is our cure right now. Black history, y'all. Yeah, it's Dr. Blizzy. You already know our culture is what it is right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Black culture, our swag, our style. Yes. Our history must be raised right now. Black children must be praised right now. This rap ain't no how now, brown cow. School systems, they're running afoul. When our children do well, you should say, ooh, child. Academic excellence, look at you now. Juneteenth, we physically free. Remain slaves, though, mentally. Break those chains. We must read from black scholars. Yes, indeed, here's a few. Jawanza Kunjufu, Claude Anderson, and Henry Clark too. Adelaide Sanford, Maya Angelou. They came before Columbus, and that's me and you. Did you know? Well, you know right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Kill racism, emoji pow. You like the text? Then it's laugh out loud. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our rhymes, our lyrics, our spirit, our style. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our rhymes, our lyrics, our spirit, our style. I'm Blake, I'm black, I'm strong, I'm proud. I'm unapologetic and I'm screaming it loud. You bees in the trap is death. I'ma free you from these traps to my very last breath. Schools like a test, they wanna assess our substance of the schools, a hot mess. Prison pipeline, based on the test, a settled death. It's done with finesse. Black history must be taught, that's it. We working on it, don't give me that shit. Sorry, not sorry for the curses in my verse. Black children are dying, conditions getting worse. Mamas are crying, they lost a child. Police gang balance, what it is right now. Yeah, Marvin, what's going on? To George and Brianna, dedicate this song. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our rhymes, our lyrics, our spirit, our style. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our rhymes, our lyrics, our spirit, our style. Let the self-hatred caused by the trauma cease. And I don't say hello, I greet you with peace. Be you. Capacity through advocacy. Policies improve our culture and community. So be you. Just be you. E but love, you know how we do. Many are called, but only a few are chosen, and that's me and you. So we mix the old school with the new. The remix builds that house of truth. No big eyes, no little U's. Cause we work together, baby, don't get it confused. But the eyes don't do what the nose do. Both work for the body's our youth. So we kill the lies and we rebuild the truth. And again, that's what it is right now. Our culture is our cure 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 right now. Our rhymes, our lyrics, our spirit, our style. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our culture is our cure right now. Our rhymes, our lyrics, our spirit, our style.